So it's the 27th of June, 2025. I think we're coming up to 3 days of ceasefire now. So what's that? It's almost 72 hours of ceasefire. So that's really bedding in the ceasefire that Trump brokered and announced and defended in sweary language. It's amazing how quickly things get back to normal. It's quite quiet now just because it's coming up to Shabbat or the Sabbath, where Jews take the day off. So thoughts. Supposedly there's a lot of talks going on. There's speculation on what could happen next. I think there's probably a lot of relief from the American side that it didn't escalate any further than Iran sending a few missiles over to the American bases in Qatar, and the Americans easily shooting them down with sufficient pre-warning from the Iranians, which was very nice of them. So I think the Americans are relieved it didn't escalate. The Qataris are relieved, and other American allies in the region are relieved that they didn't get drawn into it at all, really. So what happens next? Now, there's a large number of different paths it could go in a negotiation, diplomatic sense. I hope, and if you're optimistic from an Israeli perspective, you hope that, given this was a clear Israeli victory, supported by the Americans obviously, but a clear Israeli victory, that they won't surrender the military gains from this victory, which they have had a tendency to do in the past. The military delivers incredible victories, and then the politicians kind of let them down in the following weeks, months, years. Given it's a victory, a normal nation state after a victory would hammer home that victory politically and diplomatically and ensure that it gets what it wants from the post-victory negotiations and discussions. Personally, I think the next step for Israel in its history is to become, I don't know what a better term is, but like a serious nation state, which just isn't a constant war all the time with all the various Arab neighbors, and that it just doesn't accept rockets flying into its lands, killing and wounding civilians on a regular basis. Israel's military is now strong enough that it really should be aiming for a Western style or serious nation state type dynamic, where rockets being fired from nation states is a rare occurrence, and when it does happen, it's dealt with incredibly seriously. It's not like something that you just have to get used to. It's obviously more difficult when there are internal terrorists or pirate style Houthis who perhaps don't really answer to a particular nation state, but it should be unacceptable for another nation state to fire rockets at Israel. That should be a rare occurrence. That should not be something that happens on a regular basis. So I hope that in the discussions and negotiations that could potentially happen next week, that Israel hammers home this military victory, doesn't take its foot off the Iranian regime's neck and allows it to rebuild its missile launchers and worst case nuclear program. So I mean, that's one aspect. I also really hope that the Americans and Arab neighbours don't bring up the two-state solution for the 1000th time. Israel is small, it needs to focus on defending its land, not carving it up and giving it away to terrorist groups. So you really hope that doesn't come up in conversations again. Because this is an Israeli victory, right? So why go back to carving up Israeli land and giving it to terrorists if once you've had a military victory? Only in Israel. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously a relief that there aren't missiles raining down on Israel. It's a relief to get some sleep. It's a relief not to be woken up by sirens multiple times at night. But yes, you hope and you pray on Shabbat that the Israeli negotiators are strong enough to hammer home this military victory and ensure that Israel comes out of this stronger and doesn't get back in its old ways of giving up land, giving away its strength, surrendering once its military has delivered an incredible victory on the battlefield.